Pancreatic cancer is quite rare, but Professor Tom Whiston is the latest of 3 academics who've worked in the same room at the University of Manchester who've died of the disease. 3 other members of university staff thought to have been exposed to harmful radioactive material left over from the beginning of the 20th century also died of forms of cancer. The youngest was 25-year-old computer assistant Vanessa Santos Leitao. It's feared that all of their deaths might be linked after they spent time in the Rutherford rooms in the Rutherford building, where some of the earliest nuclear experiments were carried out around 100 years ago by Nobel Prize-winning scientist Ernest Rutherford. Professor Whiston was a respected expert in science and technology policy and was based in the Rutherford rooms for a number of years. He's thought to have left Manchester University at some time in the 80s before going on to develop pancreatic cancer, from which he died about 2 weeks ago. Now, the university has asked for an expert in workplace diseases to investigate the cluster of deaths, but relatives of other members of staff who've gone on to develop cancer have called for the university to step up its efforts to get in touch with other people who've worked in the building to let them know of the potential risk to their health. Luke Hayward's mother Moira was only 48 when she died of cancer in 1984. She'd worked in the Rutherford building when she was a teenager.
I will never know, and I don't suppose any of us will ever know whether there was a connection or not. But they did keep mooting that it had started in the pancreas, which we'd found very unusual. I think there's a basis for concern. I think we need to put it in proportion. I think it might be in their own interests as well, really, just to try and get some idea whether there is a more significant number of people with cancers, rare cancers or whatever, who work there than they would normally expect from a typical population. And I think the only way they can do that would be to create a contact line or something like that.
The University of Manchester insists that the rooms had been decontaminated and were safe, but earlier this year closed them off after deposits of mercury were found beneath the floorboards. Georgia Calvin-Smith, Channel M News.